Coming up on this edition of Speed Chronicles, let's talk business.
SIG Media presents Speed Chronicles with Todd Lewis, powered by Rev TV.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out this week's edition of Speed Chronicles. We do it every Wednesday. It's on the Rev TV YouTube channel and, of course, all your favorite podcast platforms. Please make sure you follow us on the social channels as well. We're on all the platforms at Speed Chronicles. Where to start? We had a bunch of interesting happenings and circumstances and situations and racing last week. How about the event that I was attending? Yeah, let's do that. GP3R, Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières. It is one of my favorite events. I've mentioned this all weekend to anybody that would listen. It has always been one of my favorite events. Doesn't matter which series. It's just the way the town embraces the event. It's super supportive fans that are passionate and cheering, especially Quebecers that are participating in racing. They just love their motorsports there, and it was great. So GP3R, tremendous crowds once again. The weather was fantastic, super hot all weekend. In fact, it was a little too hot for some as the weekend went on. But here's perhaps the best example of how the weekend went. I was told they sold over $61,000 worth of beer on Friday. That's a pretty substantial amount. That's on the Friday. Action didn't really get started on track until noon. So over $61,000 in beer and alcohol sales, I'd say that's pretty good. Overall, again, a terrific event, the way it's embraced. Some of the car counts were down in some of the different series. The Radicals didn't have a great turnout, unfortunately, which was really too bad. The main event, NASCAR Canada Series, 29 cars. It was a really exciting win for Andrew Ranger. I don't think I'm spoiler alert. It's 3 days later. In the first 10 years of Andrew's racing in the NASCAR Canada Series, he finished either first or second. He won 4 times, finished second 6 times, I believe, in the first 10 years. It was an extraordinary record of success and accomplishment. And each year it was a huge celebration and just a lot of enthusiasm and fun and excitement when he scored the victory or finished on the podium. It got kind of tough after that. And this is fairly common in racers' careers. You can have a great run of success and then things cool off for a while. He bounced to a couple of different teams and had been in a couple of different situations. It got tough. There were struggles. A couple of years ago, he literally got run over going through corner number 2 by another competitor. And after the race, when he had secured the victory in overtime, in unbelievably difficult and challenging conditions, it was super hot and humid and really, really difficult. It was just as hot as Calabogie, maybe it was hotter, but after he scored that victory, it was something. It was you could feel the emotion, and I've known Andrew a long time, and just seeing the expression on his face, he's always a happy and in a good mood for the most part. He'll always have a smile for you and talk, but you could just see that there was, I think, a bit of a sense of relief. I think there was a real sense of, oh, I did it. And he had felt a burden that was no longer there. And just, I rewatched the interview because it was on social media that I did with him after. And there's a moment where I could see it because I was standing up close to him, and the smile was just, it was a little bigger, and he just reached out and put his hand out and just kind of hit me on the shoulder. And it's just, I did it. And it's just, you could tell that it meant something to him, and it meant a lot to him. As mentioned, it was a super tough, challenging day in terms of the conditions, oppressively hot. Marc-Antoine Camerand actually was overcome by the heat, and the podium ceremonies had to be delayed a little bit, but it was something special. And for Andrew, continues to add to his totals. 35 wins now in NASCAR Canada Series, most of any driver, and by a significant amount over others. Other NASCAR happenings. Oh, how about Connor Zilich? I've fallen and I can't get up. We can joke about it now because he wasn't seriously injured, although it did look bad when he went down, and you could just see it coming too. As he got out of the car to celebrate his Xfinity Series win, you could just see his left foot just sort of slides a little bit. And drivers do this. They get up on the door frame now, because it was a couple of years ago, NASCAR said, hey, no jumping on the roof of the car, because they want to make sure that it's okay for tech inspection. Anyhow, so now they stand on the ledge where the door would normally be, and his left foot slipped, and he said afterwards the crew was spraying with water, and he went down, and oh, did it look bad. I mean, broken collarbone surgery is going to take a little time to recover, hopefully quickly, but it looked bad. It could have been really bad, but thankfully he's not seriously injured. We were all joking afterwards, and it's just I expect there will be a bulletin issued now about the types of celebrations that are allowed for NASCAR, but thankfully it wasn't more serious than that. Another former NASCAR driver that was in the news a little bit is Mark Martin. Listening to him on podcasts, reading some of his comments, very active on social media. And he's been kind of calling out everyone's obsession with the playoffs and what have turned into manufactured moments in NASCAR. And Mark's point is there's a race every week, and the race is a big deal. Somebody wins. There's a new story every week. Even somebody who finishes in the top 5 or runs second, there's a good story every week. But now it's become, oh, they win. That means they're in the playoffs. And it's almost diminishing how significant a race victory is. A good winning percentage in motorsports is double digits. You win a lot more you lose a lot more races than you win. The winning percentage is very small. And it's almost as if there isn't the same emphasis and a big deal made about a victory. It's an interesting point. It's become this obsession with those that cover it, is that it's playoffs. I'm not a fan of the playoff format the way it is. I've made no secret about it. It's not changing anytime soon. I'm not a big fan of stage racing. It's not changing anytime soon. So I understand that I don't make the rules and I don't get to make those calls, so I have to understand and live with it. But I think it's a good perspective. And I think continuing to look at ways to improve it and make it better are certainly good things. And while we're talking about wins, how about Shane van Gisbergen, who wins again on the road course, this one at Watkins Glen? Is this a surprise? Shouldn't be. Dude's good. Remember, if you can, or look back and in history, like 30 odd years ago, there would be road course ringers that came into the Cup Series just for, at the time, what were 2 road course events. There's a lot more of them now. But it was teams would bring in ringers just for those events. They would do it to improve their position in the standings for the points. Ron Fellows made a nice career running Cup races and in other series to help teams in terms of the championship points. Jeff Gordon kind of got everyone's attention, understanding that you could be a good road racer and a good oval racer. And it'll happen again. Everyone will see that Shane van Gisbergen is a tremendous road racer, and if we don't do something about it, he's going to keep winning those races. So there will be an improvement. But again, it's the obsession with, oh, he won, he's in the playoffs. I'm not expecting a long playoff run for SVG because he's still got a lot of work to do on oval tracks. He's a very good road racer. He's not nearly as good an oval track racer. So I'm not expecting a long run in the playoffs. But picking up a bunch of wins this quickly in his career, it's noteworthy. But you also, I don't think, should be surprised about it. But a serious championship contender? Not really for me. IndyCar, celebrating greatness. Okay, when are they going to do that? When will they do that? Alex Palou is the 2025 champion. And go back to June was when I started telegraphing that this guy's having a season that is going to be unbelievable. So now he is the 2025 champion, and they still have 2 races to run. He's won 8 of them already. Could have won more. Mid-Ohio got away from him. Served to be a bit of a motivator, I would suggest. But it's like, oh my gosh, it's snuck up on us. He's won this championship, and it's been easy to see that he's been having an incredible year. And why are we not doing more to recognize and celebrate and promote that so as to promote your series? 28 years old, just won his 4th championship. By the way, that's 4 in 5 years. How many more is he going to win? He had the potential to have a real shot at most victories in a season. I doubt that's going to happen now with only 2 left to go. But he's right at the over-under where I placed it. They should be screaming this at the top of their lungs. But oh yeah, IndyCar is like, oh, anybody can win on any given weekend. And that's been their push. And that's fine. But it's also the right thing to do to celebrate an incredible season for the ages. Remember when Max Verstappen had those in Formula One? A lot of people talked about it. Not nearly as much happening. When are we going to celebrate this championship? Oh, after the last race? When it's old news and you'll trot out the same championship photo cliches that happen every year? I'm telling you, there have been missed opportunities with this all season long. And Fox, I'm glad you bought in, because your ideas for marketing and promotion and selling some sizzle are going to be most welcome. And let's get some of those unique storytelling narratives from Fox as opposed to the same old thing that comes out of the Midwest and Indianapolis. It's time for something new. Waiting till after the final event is too late. Oh yeah, let's take some championship photos now. Did you not think to bring the trophy to Portland? I haven't seen any photos. I haven't seen any viz of that. The other story, of course, that has been obsessed over is Will Power. Scores a win at Portland, contract coming to an end at Penske. We've known about it for the year. Is he going to be cut loose? Yeah, I know. It's hard. It's waiting and see. Still a viable competitor in IndyCar. But Roger Penske has cut guys loose before. Ask Simon Pagenaud about it. Ask Elio about it. He's also been very loyal, and I think that that's something that gets forgotten about. When Elio had his troubles with the IRS a few years ago, he was out of the car. And Roger stuck by him, and when the verdict came down and he was cleared, he was literally back in the car the next day. Will Power's wife, Liz, was very ill a couple of years ago. Seriously ill to the point where she almost died, as Will said. How much support and whatever Will and his family needed did Penske provide? Like, it was there. It happened. I'm glad that Liz was there to see the victory on Sunday. It's not personal. It's business. I don't know if it makes sense. The whole Penske racing team in IndyCar is a bit of a mess right now. But Willie P sounds like he's come to grips with it, that the time is going to end. Not everybody gets to leave a sport or a team or a situation on your own terms. Sometimes it happens. A lot of the time, and athletes will tell you this in whichever sport, is that a lot of the time it's decided for you. You don't get to pick and choose how you leave or how you depart. He seems like he's okay with it. He's going to move forward. He sure seems like he wants to keep racing in IndyCar, and I expect he will. Where? Don't know yet. Nothing lasts forever. People move on, and circumstances and situations change. And that's the only constant, is that there is change. And people have difficulty accepting it sometimes. Things are not all going to be done exactly the same way in exactly the same manner forever and ever. You have to change and you have to evolve. One other IndyCar item I want to throw in. Connor Daly, Christian Rasmussen, haven't heard of any fines announced. Well, that's because they don't make any money in prize money for IndyCar for the most part. You can't really fine them more than what you're giving them in prize money. But ignoring what took place, that's unacceptable. Oh, we looked at it and we saw both were, doing things they shouldn't and no action was taken. Well, all you've done is loosen the reins for everybody else. And that's a huge mistake. They should have both been parked during the race. Park them for a lap or 2 or 10 and say, smarten up. And if you do that again, we are going to park you for good. That's unacceptable, using your car as a weapon. And that's what both of them were doing. Thanks for checking out this week's edition of Speed Chronicles. We'll be back again next week. Another weekend of racing coming up. No NASCAR Canada this week. NASCAR, of course, continues in the U.S. Formula One continues their holiday. IndyCar will be back in action soon, and so will IMSA. Enjoy a great weekend of racing, and back with you again next Wednesday.